MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us, we've got Mawethu Soga, who apparently has also been watching the show for many, many years. And here he is in studio with us as an entrepreneur. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story that happened on this show many, many years ago. There was an individual who came who had a panel beating business. And through the questioning, I asked the question, why do you have to only do panel beating during the day? Mm-hmm. And he left the show, and he came back to me about 2 years ago with 2 years later, with an email showing what he had done with his business, which was he turned his business into a 24-hour business. Mm. And what he did was he went to the client's houses, picked up the vehicle, did the repairs overnight and brought them back at 7 o'clock in the morning before they went to work. Said, what time do you leave? To make sure the vehicle was back. So that was the convenience part, right? Yeah. Right. You get where I'm going, right? Yeah. You got your workshop coming. Now there's another level of complexity where if the whole thing is around convenience, then live convenience. You've got to live that in totality, not just I can come to you and there's one tick against convenience. You've got to go deeper and think about all the things that are convenient. So it's convenient for you to pay. It's convenient for you to even maybe to pay over 24 months. It's convenient for us to pick it up, to drop it off, to come to you. You need to think through convenience in a much broader way than you're thinking about it right now. Because if you're going to compete, for me to go and get some developers to go and build this piece of software is relatively easy. What's difficult is to find your 34 people that your mechanics who you can trust, and then then build up the brand, etc. That's far more difficult. So we've got to get the value proposition a lot clearer. Your website says it's a good website. I'm not taking anything away from it, but if you're going to grow, and you've got to have to be bolder and braver in terms of taking certain leaps of faith around certain things. So convenience, go deeper. Then the whole reliability story for me is the place to go. If you think about a B2B environment, which I think is where the money is, and you ask the question, which way should I go? If I were your mentor, I'd say, B2B is your focus. I love the fact that you said you going out and you knocking on doors. I'd 100% push for that. Okay. But what do they want? They want to trust you. Mm-hmm. So that building that trust is very, very important. So what conveys trust? What conveys trust? Are you getting that across enough? Because very often with entrepreneurs, they've got the stuff, but they're not showing it, right? So I say, is it on you? So the whole thing about the reviews is trust. That is about being open. That is trust. That here we are, we got an average of a 4 point whatever stars, and people, these are the things that people are saying. But a lot of people know that it's your cousin that's writing something great about you, and it's your mother, and it's, that are writing things about you, so that people know that. So you've got to go deeper around the trust. So for me, if I look at the two markets, convenience is what I would go for the individual. Trust is what I'd go for the B2B. But there's also a thing called the EVP, employee value proposition. So how do you tie this into an EVP when you're going to B2B? So how do you say to the person that you're speaking to, how do we include this in your employee value proposition, right? Because if they've got something wrong, then they're going to leave. Your premises are going to take the vehicle. They're going to be on the phone all day. Whereas if I'm coming here and doing it, they're here. They're on-prem. Yes. And if they're on premises, then they're less likely to leave, get in traffic, and to come out, etc., or leave early to come to go to another person who's fixing their car. Yes. Plus the fact that they've got their car when they leave, and they can bring their car into work. All those other things. So you're not thinking about the value proposition enough for the B2B. So you need to push that. Reliability, trust, convenience. Those are the things that you need to be pushing. Then I want to talk about the B2B now in terms of your cash flows, because you've got to look here. If you think about a company with 200 or 300 staff, and let's say 100 of them have got cars, you can now, at some level, if you worked at a big corporate where there were 1,000 people working in that vehicle and there was a car park of 1,000 people, you are assured that you can have somebody will need fixing all day.
Yes.
At some point, right? Every day there's going to be somebody who needs something fixed. So coming back to your value proposition, we'll put an on-premises mechanic, our own person there that we will manage. Okay, a different way of thinking about it. So instead of coming to you, we're at you. It's a high level of convenience.
I like that.
You don't even have to, they're there. You book them there. Give us a bay, okay, and then we'll just book them in the whole time, and they're there. And it's an employee value proposition that if you work for this corporate, there's somebody right here. You don't have to in the underground garage. They're there, just like the car washes are, right?
Yes,
Same thing, right? So what's that all about? That is, well, I don't have to leave. It's right here. It's a value proposition to the employees, etc. And there's always somebody who wants a car washed. So now you're thinking more like that. Now you start to push these things and start to think about more around the depth around what that could be. Now you take that idea and you say, well, where else can I have a permanent individual? Then that starts to think, well, is it now a franchise that we start to create? Is it, are they working for me? How are they working? So start to change the nature of how you're thinking. Now you've got different divisions. You've got division, I'm thinking about the future. You've got a division which is a B2C. You've got a B2B. Then you've got your franchise model. And you start to build that out into the future. And so now that you're thinking across all these things, you're thinking what's central to all these future possible divisions that you're creating. And that is that it's about convenience. You've deepened the concept of convenience. It's about reliability. It's about trust. Those are the three things. How do I represent it here? How do I represent it here? And how do I represent it here? How do I represent all three? So just to close off, I think like very often when people are sitting here, they're far from where they need to be. You're not far. It just need to push you a little bit further. So just to close that gap.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So I hope Mawethu, that gave you some things to think about.
A lot of questions as well. And I don't know why. Reliability was just never a mental focus. I guess building it was just convenience, affordability. But you didn't know you have trust that's sitting there and you should sell it here.
Great.
I didn't think of that.
Well, speaking of trust, I trust you enjoyed today's show. And do remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.